Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News at 5 starts now.
Good evening. For the third time in history, a U.S. president expected to be impeached today. The House of Representatives tonight could pass 2 articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump. 23 ABC's Austin Westfall spoke to a local political expert and has a roundup of this historic day. Austin?
Jessica, first it's important to explain what exactly impeachment means. It does not mean the president is booted from office. Think of it like any other criminal case. Impeachment basically means the House of Representatives is bringing charges against the president. Then it's the Senate's job to hold a trial and decide whether they will convict or remove the president. Now, just 2 presidents have been impeached before, the first being Andrew Johnson in 1868. He was not convicted by the Senate, so he was not removed from office, similar to Bill Clinton in 1998. Now, some might think that Richard Nixon was impeached. He actually wasn't. He was on track to be impeached and removed, but he resigned before any of that could happen. Now, President Trump could be charged today with abuse and power and obstructing Congress, but most experts believe it's unlikely the Senate will remove him from office.
A historic day, because for the third time ever, a U.S. president is expected to be impeached. The House of Representatives expected to approve 2 articles of impeachment tonight: abuse of power and obstructing Congress.
If I had to put odds on it, I'd put it at about 20%, meaning that it's not good odds, but it's possible.
Most experts, including Bakersfield College political science professor Alan Bowler, think it's a long shot that Trump will actually be removed from the Oval Office if he's impeached. That's because it will then be in the Republican-led Senate's hands to decide whether to convict and remove him.
I don't yet see that happening, and so that's why I would put the odds pretty low.
Representatives from both sides of the aisle spending the morning in debate.
Trump invited foreign interests to interfere in our elections for his personal gain, and he then took unprecedented efforts to cover it up, obstructing Congress.
It's a sham, a witch hunt, and it's tantamount to a coup against the duly elected president of the United States.
President Trump tweeting in all caps this morning, "Such atrocious lies by the radical left do nothing Democrats. This is an assault on America and an assault on the Republican Party." Representative Kevin McCarthy also posting a video on Twitter last night calling out Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi.
Her conference will be smaller, the support will be less, and her legacy will be an embarrassment.
And what about Trump's legacy? Will a potential impeachment change voters' perception of him? Bowler doesn't think so.
I tend to think it's going to be less important than probably most people think, simply for the reason that we're almost still a year away from the election. And most things that are a year away tend to get a little bit forgotten.
Now, Bowler says things like the economy, healthcare, and immigration are going to be at the top of people's mind come November.
Now, let's say that they do vote to remove President Trump. Will he hypothetically be able to run for president in 2020?
That's actually up to the Senate. So the Senate has the option to make it so that Trump can be removed from office, and then they can add the stipulation that he's not able to run for public office again. And Bowler tells me that if he is removed this time, that's likely what's going to happen.
Wow. All right, Austin, thanks for that. We're going to continue to follow the very latest and keep you updated, but we want to turn now because the Bakersfield Police Department has released the list of some of the gang members arrested in Operation Deep South. BPD released the names of 26 people arrested in the gang sweep yesterday. The ages range from 18 years old to 47 years old, some even arrested in cities outside of Kern County like Sacramento and Las Vegas. Officials say the other names would be released at a later time. To see the list of the gang members arrested, be sure to head to our website, turn23.com. And coming up at 6, we speak with a former gang member and founder of a local organization that mentors and helps current gang members get out of that lifestyle. He tells us about the resources available. We're going to have that story and more coming up at 6. On the heels of the massive sweep, Sheriff Donnie Youngblood stopped by our studio this morning to talk about the results of the operation, but he also spoke about the homeless crisis. Sheriff Youngblood saying that they are still in discussion regarding the proposed low-barrier shelter.
So we're going to have groups there that kind of separate. We're going to have security there. There's going to be a deputy there. We want to make sure that not only is the surrounding community safe, and the city will do that, but also the facility itself, so people can come there, that if they're down on their luck and they need a place to sleep, that they can do it safely.
The sheriff said during the interview there will be a deputy at the shelter 12 hours of the day, and he said they would adjust that depending on what is needed. He also addressed the Supreme Court's decision to not review the move that makes it harder for cities to keep homeless people from sleeping on the streets. Sheriff Youngblood also spoke about his plans for 2020 and said he would not pursue the county sales tax again. He did say they want to keep doing gang sweeps to put an end to the gang violence in the community. Witnesses back in court today to testify in the trial of Leslie Chance. Today, the jury heard from the coroner who conducted the official autopsy report. 23 ABC's Alex Bell joins us live from the Kern County Courthouse with the details. Alex?
Earlier today, we heard extensive testimony from Dr. Robert Whitmore, the forensic pathologist that actually conducted Todd Chance's autopsy. Now, he said that those 2 gunshot wounds that Todd sustained were lethal and that he died in a matter of minutes. But Whitmore also testified that those gunshots were fired from just inches away. According to previous testimony during the trial, one of the theories from detectives is that Todd was shot from inside the Mustang. The defense is trying to prove it's not possible. Now, the video you are seeing is from opening statements made at the beginning of the retrial. We want to remind our viewers that cameras are not allowed inside the courtroom. Dr. Whitmore from the Kern County Coroner's Office took the stand today. He is the physician who performed Todd Chance's autopsy. Whitmore walked jurors through his autopsy report, which concluded the cause of death being multiple gunshot wounds, and the manner of death was officially ruled a homicide. Whitmore testified that Todd had 2 gunshot wounds, both located in the upper right chest area. Whitmore stated that one of the bullets went through his right hand and then penetrated his chest. Whitmore also said that soot and tattooing found on Todd's right hand along the bullet wound meant the gunshot came from a close range. In Whitmore's expert opinion, the barrel of the gun was fired just inches away. Whitmore also stated that the trajectory of the bullet showed that Todd was in a defensive stance when he was shot. Maybe he was even reaching for the gun when it went off, Whitmore said. Whitmore also stated that the shooter had to have been in front of him and probably off to the right. And according to Whitmore, Todd sustained massive internal bleeding and the bullets damaged several major organs. Also, he stated he saw no other injuries on Todd's body besides the bullet wounds. Whitmore also said that there was no way he could tell if Todd was sitting or standing when he was shot. Now, the jury will not be in the courtroom over these next 2 days, and that's because they're going on a jury tour, meaning they're going to be going out into the field and visiting different locations that are mentioned in the case. So court will not resume until January 2nd, 2020. But earlier this week, the judge did say that he expects the prosecution to rest around the 2nd or 3rd week of January. If Leslie Chance is convicted, she is facing life in prison without the possibility of parole. But for now, live at the Kern County Superior Court, I'm Alex Bell for 23 ABC News, connecting you.
Alex, thanks for that. The Bureau of Reclamation is asking for the public's input for plans to restore a stretch of the Friant Kern Canal. There's a meeting set for tonight in Porterville to discuss the canal repairs. The project is set to fix a 33-mile stretch of the canal that has lost over half its capacity. It was due to when the earth sinks because of the extraction of groundwater. The canal delivers water to more than 200,000 residents and 1 million acres of farmland. The restoration project would repair the most affected areas near the Deer Creek check structure. The public is invited to attend the meeting in Porterville at 5:30 p.m. at the U.S. Forest Service office at 1839 South New Combe Street.
Kern County was seeing passing clouds today because we are tracking a system that's making its way onshore in Northern California. So you can see that's where most of the precipitation is centered. Maybe a few bands of rain that are going to be making their way over Las Vegas. But as of right now, you can see dry conditions across Bakersfield. Maybe a pop or two of some light precipitation falling near Taft. But that system is going to be clearing out as we head into the overnight hours. And that did cause slightly cooler temperatures than what we were feeling this time yesterday. Because yesterday we were tracking those dry desert warm winds making their way into the region, so we are relatively warm, but those winds have calmed down significantly and they are coming from the northwest. So as we head into the overnight hours, those temperatures will be dipping down into the mid 40s for us here in Bakersfield by 10 p.m. and dipping into those 30s into Hatchpe and Mojave. But high pressure will be back as we head into the rest of your work week. I'll let you know what that means for our next warming trend coming up next.
Colder temperatures are here, and Kern County Fire Department says structure fires are on the rise. 23 ABC's Tori Cooper has helpful reminders from fire officials in light of the recent house fires we've seen.
Just 3 victims are recovering after being rescued from their homes that caught on fire just in the last week. And county fire officials say they frequently see this issue during this time of year, but that safety proofing your home ahead of time can prevent tragedies from happening. been a busy month for Kern County Fire Department Public Information Officer Andrew Freeborn and his team.
As soon as the weather starts to cool, we start seeing a spike in other types of calls. We start seeing more structure fires. We start seeing more calls for carbon monoxide fires.
Since Friday, county fire officials say 3 elderly people have had to be rescued from their homes that caught fire in East Bakersfield. The cause of both fires still undetermined by fire investigators, but officials say there was a common denominator in both blazes that could have helped alert residents sooner.
That they had, in fact, installed fire alarms in their home, smoke alarms in their home, but that they weren't alerted to any form of smoke or fire in their home by these smoke alarms.
Officials say this is why smoke alarms need to be tested every month.
Almost all smoke alarms have a button that you could simply press and hold, and it'll go through the different alarms and the beeps, and you're able to see, okay, yes, it is in fact working.
But Freeborn says there are other key factors playing into these types of fires during this time of year.
It seems that anywhere from 1/3 to half of all fires that are attributed to a decoration come back to candles. So candles are a significant source of fire starts throughout the United States. So by taking a couple of precautions with candles, making sure things aren't near your fireplace, these are going to help reduce the chances of a fire starting in your home.
Freeborn says space heaters should also never be covered or close to anything flammable. And he says don't leave it on while you are not at home. But he says there are a few ways you can safety-proof your home, stay proactive and warm all at the same time.
Don't leave fires unattended. If you have a fire that's burning in the fireplace, make sure it's out before you go to bed. If you have hot coals from the fireplace, when you dispose of them outside, put them in a metal trash can of some sort that only has ashes, something with a lid, and make sure it's away from the home. And that way, if something does catch fire, it doesn't spread to your home.
Now, all 3 people who lived in the homes that caught on fire were rescued and returned to safety, but they were all taken to the hospital for further evaluation, and there is no update on their condition, according to officials. Now, Red Cross officials say you can also stop by their office to get a free smoke alarm, and they will even help install it for you if you need help. But for more information on how you can safety-proof your homes, all you have to do is head right to our website, turn223.com. But for now, live in studio, I'm Tori Cooper for 23 ABC News, connecting you.
We may be planning on attending holiday parties and gatherings with family and friends, but Delano Police want to make sure you're having a good time while staying safe. The Delano Police Department says it has extra officers on patrol now through New Year's Day looking for drivers under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Delano PD will also have multiple DUI saturation patrols on Saturday. They recommend if you're hosting a holiday party, offer a non-alcoholic beverage for designated sober drivers and monitor how your guests are getting home.